Hey, everybody, welcome back. I am Josh Olive with Haven Comics. It is Thursday night, which must mean it is Shop Talk. So, Al and I are going to be talking about some comics and pretty much whatever else we feel like because that's the kind of guys we are. So, stick around. If you stuck around, congratulations. Good for you. If you didn't, shame on you. But how would you know that I'm saying that? Because you didn't stick around. That is a conundrum. Speaking of conundrums, he's short, he's bald, but women dig him. I don't get it. It's Alan. What's up? Uh oh. No! Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
And see, Nick, this is what real fans do. We don't just buy display pieces.
That's right. That's right. They are
The,
there to be played with.
the,
Like
the
this.
price now is $7. He knows what I'm talking about.
That would be that Godzilla #1 he just bought, I'm guessing.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was honestly, I was in the shop a few weeks ago and I saw it on the wall and I was like, I need to buy that. But it was also at that time, it had been like almost a month since I was able to get in. And I thought, okay, nobody's going to pick that up. That's a little bit obscure. I need to go get all this crap out of my box first. I'll get it next week. Well, next week just didn't come for me in that comic because apparently Nick got to it before I did.
Nick hadn't bought a comic book, an actual comic book, in God knows how long, and he snipes that one out from under you
I mean,
purely by chance. That one's funny.
just snatched it right and didn't even know what he was doing.
That's the beauty of it. Speaking of which, where is Nick? He's already fixed his washing machine. He's already built his game table. He should be on here. No excuses, Nick.
Okay, to verify something, you cannot hear this music in the background, correct?
I hear no music.
Okay, good. I don't want us to get hit with a copyright. I'm actually waiting on something so I can record it right quick, and it should be happening like any minute, and it's driving me nuts.
Well, that sounds fun. You making a mixtape for somebody? Very old school.
So, I told you, so everybody else knows what's going on. This guy on XM Radio, Hair Nation, he does this little thing, and he was like, "Hey, if you have any suggestions, blah blah blah, send it to me here." And the bug had a suggestion, and he was like all over it. And then he said, I'll give you a shout out and I'll answer your question during this time frame Thursday night. Well, that time frame just happens to be within the next 30 minutes. So I'm kind of listening to XM on the side and doing this because she's actually at a school dance and I was going to record it for her right quick. There was something I was going to ask you that was, so I did manage to knock out a few more books from this last round, and
Okay.
I've got okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into these because I don't have a ton, but I've typed. Or
Taught.
we can, or we can wait a couple minutes and talk about this new supposed park, Fifth Land or whatever that Disney has coming at Magic Kingdom.
Well, if it's at Magic Kingdom, it's just an expansion. It's not a new park.
Well, a new land. Well, at first they were talking about a new park, and then they went from new park to new land.
Well, Disney themselves have not talked about opening a fifth gate in a long time. People have been speculating, but Disney themselves haven't talked about that at all. They're focused on expansion of the parks they've got.
Yeah.
Which is why we saw things like Pandora at Animal Kingdom. That's why we saw things like New Fantasyland back in 2012. Um, but yeah, what they're talking about now is really expanding on Frontierland. What lies beyond Big Thunder Mountain, right? And they're talking about Coco and Encanto, and I want to say something else, but those are the big ones um, for sure.
Well,
Although they're already putting Encanto over in Animal Kingdom, so it would be strange to have it in both places.
Yeah, I saw a thing today where they were talking about that they didn't know if there would be anything Coco, like a Coco Land, just simply because the movie is technically already older.
So what?
And it's
It's a movie that speaks to an entire uh, subset of their demographic that is really underrepresented with the Mexican culture, Spanish language, all that stuff. And it was a great movie with great music. And I, for one, think it would be amazing if you walk into a land and uh, it's the Dia de los Muertos, and you cross over a bridge that transitions, and then you're in the land
and
of
it's like the golden petals. That
yes,
would be so cool.
that would be amazing, and I think they could do it. A villain's land, everybody gets excited about that, and I don't know why. I mean, it's like to me that would get old pretty quick. What's the story you're telling? Ooh, I'm evil, and I have this land, and I have this castle. I don't know. I don't get the story.
I think it would depend on how it's represented. Um, I mean, literally, you would love to go and get your picture done with Captain Hook, like whenever you wanted to. Um, just like go from Captain Hook to go picking back and forth with Gaston. I
Well,
think
they
a villain
originally
lane could
had
be
it
fun.
set up where they did a villains meetup in Gaston's tavern, where it was like the villains at a villain roundtable where they would sit around and roast each other and give the guests grief. But
Yeah.
that didn't last very long at all, and I think it didn't because there was no room for people to actually get in there with them and enjoy it because that's a pretty small venue. Um, it also seems weird to me to open up that much space behind the Magic Kingdom because Magic Kingdom is a perfect layout right now, right?
Yeah.
You come in on Main Street and you have this hub that just right around, right? If you have a hub that's got this weird spoke sticking off over here off the outside, I don't know. That just seems very odd to me.
Well, because they had talked about whatever, or at least the big rumor was whatever it would be back behind Big Thunder Mountain.
Right.
So the theming, you got to have like some type of smooth transition from one to the next.
Which is why Coco works.
But then you also, how much is the Tiana ride going to change Frontierland?
Yeah, it already does because they are the vast amount of foliage and everything that they're putting on that with all of the topiaries and plants and stuff.
Yep.
It already looks very different. The shape of it looks very different, and it's weird to me. It's just weird to me. I don't like the overall look of it. It's whatever made Splash Mountain iconic and what made it work. A part of which I think was the tree at the top of the hill, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's already gone. So now it just doesn't have the same visual impact, and it's strange. I will say I didn't realize until they were about to pull it down that that tree at the top of the hill was a hidden Brer Rabbit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was. If you saw it from the right angle, it was a profile of Bear Rabbit. You can look up pictures of it online that show you, and you're like, son of a gun. I had no idea.
I have to check that out. And they're supposedly getting ready to do something with the Star Cruiser that they shut down.
Yeah, I've seen that they filed some permits to do some stuff over there, and it may just be to turn it into a Star Wars themed hotel without the cruising experience where you're there for 3 days doing all the stuff. And uh, so, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, my whole thing about that was I was not going to spend that type of money just to be sitting inside of a hotel, and I could only go outside and technically go to like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge one time because it was a docking place. To me, if I'm spending that much money, I need to be able to come and go as I please.
Well, that's probably part of the reason people didn't go. But one of the reasons that they had it set up the way they did was because it was a totally immersive experience. You were a character in the Star Wars world, and there were people loitering about, like doing maintenance or whatever, and they all had allegiances to the rebellion, to the First Order, whatever. Um, and you could talk to people, and you could learn a little bit, and you could there were it was a really immersive. It was like playing a role playing game, except it was a live deal. It was like LARPing, and all these people had their roles, and you were a character in that world. You're not just staying at a hotel and coming and going. You were part of the story, and that was the
Yeah.
whole purpose of it. uh, which for me, now I've done a lot of theater, so I dig that kind of thing, but man, I would have loved to have done that. My inner, like, spy, I like CIA shows and
Yeah, I
think
just
Burn
don't. I
Notice
mean,
and stuff like that. My inner spy, man, I would have loved to have like started digging around and finding clues and doing all that espionage stuff. I would have dug it.
see, I would have. I just think that it was way too ambitious, and it was not something that the average family could do.
Yeah,
Because
I don't think they were trying for the average family. I think they were trying for the Uber fans, and then I think they realized that the Uber fans, there's not enough of those.
yeah, the Uber fan is not what carries that. I mean, it's the average fan. And when you start telling the average family, hey, a 3 night stay is going to be $6,000, they're like, I think we're going to go spend that money over at All Star Movies and half that and stay an entire week and go to whatever park we want to go to.
Yep,
So
that's
I
exactly
mean,
right.
it would be cool if they turn it into just a Star Wars themed hotel. Maybe at the moderate tier. You know, just
Yeah, I
like,
don't think it'll be moderate. I think it'll be the top tier.
oh,
I
you
think
think it'll
it'll
be
be
top?
deluxe. Now it might be in that weird kind of space of a mid deluxe like Animal Kingdom Lodge or Wilderness Lodge, right?
Yeah.
It might be in that space where it's somewhere between. But I just think, given the hotel itself and them trying to make some kind of capital off of it, that's likely to be somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah. See, I think that because there's no way they could have recouped their investment on what they did.
No, not at all. Not even close.
So that's why I would say make it a moderate because you're definitely going to recoup your investment and then some.
Well, I think they wrote it off as a tax write off, as a major loss, so they could
Oh,
do
well,
that.
yeah.
I thought it was interesting that they are part of this super sports stream that they're teamed up with, through ESPN with Fox Sports, which does all the Big Ten stuff and all that stuff, as opposed to just the SEC, which ESPN has.
Yeah.
It's a three-way team up. I forget who the third member of that is, but they're joined forces for this ultimate sports.
Epic Games.
Epic Games. There you
Yeah.
go. Ultimate sports streaming service, and that's intriguing.
Yeah. They literally, as we were getting ready to go live, I got a notification and it said that Disney wound up having a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games.
Yep,
So that's a lot of money.
it's a lot of money. I mean, they said they're going to spend $60 billion in the theme parks over the next several years. 60 billion. That's a lot of bullion.
What's up, Mr.
Hey, Mike
Wazlowski?
Weslowski, what's happening?
We were kind of hanging out, chit chatting about some stuff, trying to wait and see if any more people got on before we started talking about the books.
Oh, you got enough folks on to talk about books. Let's talk about books.
Let's talk about books. So I'm not following everything in Gang War. I'm
I'm not
really,
either.
I'm really and truly only following Daredevil and Gang War, and this is
I'm following Daredevil and Luke Cage, and mostly I'm following Luke Cage because my friend Kanan White is doing the cover art.
yeah. And honestly, Luke Cage is in here. I mean, it's like a small cameo, but he's still in here. Um, This has been really, really good.
I agree. It has been surprisingly good, and the art has been great.
Yeah, and I like that it seems like we're getting an arch nemesis for Elektra.
Yep.
I hope that they keep her on. That could be like really good.
She certainly has demonstrated that she ain't nobody to mess with.
The art's been good. The crap, what was it? Oh, and the fact that I like how you get the little map. Oh, hang on a second. Let me
Okay.
record this.
Do, 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 do. Ellen has to record something off the radio.
Okay, so we're taking a timeout. This DJ swears that he can connect anybody to Nikki Six from the bass player from Motley Crue. And he literally, my daughter Lily, she's like, there's no way he can connect Nikki Six to Harry Styles. She sent him a message. He was like, oh, challenge accepted. That dude literally just connected Nikki Six and Harry Styles through movies and who played in which band and everything else, and did it without even trying.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Now y'all have my undivided attention. Gang War, I would kind of like to know what's going on elsewhere, but
I wish somebody would sum it up for me, right? I don't want to read it. I just want to know.
exactly. At least you've got the map showing which gang is fighting where and which
Yep.
gang controls which territory.
Yep.
I still think this is it kind of has like that crime noir feel to it a little bit.
A little bit.
I've really enjoyed this. I like the fact that Elektra is having her own Daredevil adventure, and it's got nothing to do with Matt.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually been really fun. We all know that those characters will definitely be back together. We just got to kind of let Matt sort through some stuff.
Yes.
Particularly, which we'll jump straight to it. We've got to let Matt apparently sort through the 7 deadly sins,
Mm-hmm.
which I was kind of mad at myself because in Daredevil 5, that's when it comes out that he's basically dealing with the 7 deadly sins.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mad at myself that I did not figure that out beforehand.
Same. I just wasn't looking for it,
I really wasn't either.
I wasn't looking for anything there, so I didn't see it. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that. I am absolutely, so far, I am loving what Ahmed is doing with Daredevil. He's doing a really good job. I was leery about this issue because it is co-starring She-Hulk, but you can tell that there's something up with her. She's actually possessed by gluttony. And Matt basically has to fight her, but he has to do it. They've been having lunch and stuff together. She's dragging him all over the city. So when he does it, he kind of has to duck between 2 cars and tie a shirt around his face, like he used to. No Daredevil costume. I mean, it was another solid issue. It was really good.
I'm not loving Ahmed's Daredevil, but I enjoy it. I like it. I'm not like, ooh, what's going to happen next like I was during the Zdarsky run.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job with it. Zdarsky's run will always stand above everybody else's. If I said I'm loving it, I mean, it's the character Daredevil. I love the character.
Yep.
He has not disappointed me on any level so far. I mean, let's put it like that. I like the way he is.
That's awesome.
I
Da,
like
da,
the
da,
way
da,
he is
da.
doing basically the religious aspect of it.
Yes.
How it's not always a fight. Sometimes he's having to exorcise these demons.
Mm-hmm.
So he's having to rely on Daredevil on one hand and Father Matthew on the other.
I
It's
have exorcised the demon.
really that's been fun. I mean, I'm really enjoying what he's doing. Another one that I'm really enjoying, and I didn't understand what they were going to do with the character. It's not the type of book that I would have thought it would have been based off of what we come off of with Night Terrors. I was really hoping for a zombie Sandman adventure, but this one takes us back to the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been great. This has been really, really good.
Well, they've also got a Golden Age Flash and a Golden Age Green Lantern story that they're doing too.
I
Um,
think the reason why I'm enjoying this one so much is because I never really followed Sandman.
hmm.
So it's new and it's fresh to me. Um, the Flash and Green Lantern, they've always been kind of floating around in my books somewhere over the years. So this was, like I said, I thought it just feels fresh and new to me. It's been a good story. There was definitely a twist. Someone died in this one. I was not expecting them to die. I was expecting more of a fight out of this person. It was really good.
What do you
Actually,
think about this claim right here?
I have to disagree, and I disagree because of two books. Actually, one book, two issues. Duke 1 and Duke 2. Duke 1 and Duke 2 just blew everything Energon verse out of the water, in my opinion. And I've really enjoyed the Energon verse. Don't get me wrong.
You don't count Transformers #2 in there?
It was so quick. I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was so quick, but it was one of those where I was just kind of like, okay, get me to the book. Yeah, no, Bill, it's really good art, and it does have a 60s feel to it, but when you
Now he's talking about Duke is all part of the Energon universe. He just thinks that the Energon universe is in the Energon universe. He's saying that Duke #1 and #2 are better than Void Rivals.
yes, and Matthew, my boy, if you want to proclaim that I've got a hard on for a particular company, that company would actually be AWA,
AWA.
followed up by Mad Cave. Then DC, Marvel comes in a distant fourth. Probably
Well,
not even fourth. I'm sure I could find somebody else and put Marvel down to fifth. I'm hard
well,
on
what about
Marvel.
Image? You left them off
Yeah, well, okay, Marvel's definitely fifth then.
because you got Skybound, you got Ghost Machine.
Yep. So hey, Bill, this is what the art looks like on the inside. So you definitely get like a 60s styles art, but a 40s feel. They've
Does
done
it
a
have
really
thought
good job with
balloons?
that.
That book should have thought balloons.
And I can agree with that, Matt. And that's really sad because they have some of the most iconic characters in comic history. I don't know what they're thinking half the time. I mean, and I believe Bill actually texted me this the other night, and my old self was in bed. Nick, you might want to rewind and watch the very beginning. There's a very special message for you.
There certainly is.
But like this X-Men 97, I feel like that's just going to be a money grab. I don't see a point in us having that. We're going to get a prequel to the X-Men cartoon. Now, I'm sure there's people out there that's going to love it. Don't let my words stop you from buying it. Go buy every single copy Josh orders for the shop. Prove me wrong. I just personally, stop rehashing everything we've already had and give me something new.
Like Vengeance of Moon Knight.
Yes, Hunter's Moon. You gave me something new. You gave me a new character to care about.
Yeah, Mad Cave is doing Dick Tracy. Mad Cave is doing Battle of the Planets.
Flash
There was
Gordon.
which one?
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Yeah, Mad Cave is picking up some interesting properties.
And oh, what was the name? I texted. I've got to look at it. I texted you the in our group chat the picture the other night. It's a new Mad Cave book coming out. I got to go find it. It's in our text messages.
Yeah, dude, that chat is so long. You could have texted it to me yesterday, and I would have to scrum through it for 5 days
No,
to
it's
find it.
that book's Sanction.
Oh, Sanction, yes, there it
That
is.
looks like that's going to be good. And at first, I thought you said that chat is so wrong, which it's that too.
Well, it's that too. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's definitely that too, but it's just so long. It's like, man alive, when are you gonna?
And the sad thing is, there's only 4 people in that chat.
But when it blows up, it blows up.
Oh, and
like,
it goes.
Oh my lord, there's no stopping this.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Sanction. I think that's going to be fun.
We need to bring Mr. London back on the show.
I was
I mean, like we need like soon because they've got a lot of big stuff coming, and we need him to come and talk to us about it.
There's 2 people, actually 3 people that I really and truly want to reach out to, and I was going to basically wait until like Monday because a lot of times when you email or send somebody a message on a Friday, it kind of gets lost on the weekend.
That's true.
But Mark London was definitely on the list. Dan Panosian, and I don't know how this third one would actually work because I don't know if he's truly located inside the States. But I want to try to get that guy Jack from DSNY Newscast on.
Oh yeah.
I just think he would be fun to talk to because
I mean, even if he's in the UK, as long as he's gonna stay up late, we could do our regular time, and it could just be the middle of the night for him.
Yeah, so I was going to. Those are the 3 that I'm fixing to email to try to get on the show, hopefully within the next little bit.
Well, somebody else we need to bring back to the show is Mark Spears.
Yep, we need to bring him on
because I got to tell y'all, he did his Kickstarter for his monsters series with like Dracula and Van Helsing and Werewolf, the Wolf Man, and all those guys, right? Alan Quartermain. He did his Kickstarter. He got funded. We're gonna have the book at the store, but he sent me a PDF of the first issue with no text or anything in it, but then he sent me the script separately so I could proof it for him and whatnot, right? So I read it before I saw the pages. So I just read a raw script.
Yeah.
Nothing but words. And I'm like, okay. Ooh. And then I saw then I looked at the actual images, right? The artwork.
Yeah.
And so I'm picturing in my mind the language, the word bubbles and such that I just read superimposed over this so I can see how it plays out. And let me tell you, I thought at first that the image that he sent was just like a funny picture because in the thumbnail it was very small and it looked like a photograph. The art was so on point. It looked like a photograph.
Really?
And then when I clicked on it, I was like, oh, okay. That's actually his art. That's I see. So I follow it through. And his Dracula, he's a little bit of an older looking Dracula, more Bela Lugosi kind of Dracula.
Yeah.
But like he's aged a little bit. And he has the most piercing eyes. Like it's creepy to look at him. It's unnerving to look at him.
Okay, let's see what he's posted on Instagram here lately.
But I'm excited about that. Having read that first issue and seen that art, I am all about it. It's pretty awesome. So I want
Oh
to have him
Lord.
come back on here to talk about it because we're going to have copies at the shop, and we're going to have him out to do a signing. And also, secret word for everybody. Um, he is also Mark Spears is going to be at the Haven booth at the expo. So he'll be set up at our booth at the expo. You're welcome.
Did you see this Spider-Man and Incredible Hulk he posted the other day?
I did not.
Oh,
I will
let's
say for anybody who's interested, his the first DC cover that he has done has not been a. Ooh, I did see that. Now that you say it, I did see that.
yeah.
That era Hulk is perfect for his color palette that he likes to use. Right, he gets those bright greens and purples.
Yep.
Um, but anyway, his first DC cover that's not a ratio variant, so open to order variant, is Kneel Before Zod #4.
Really?
Yes, and we've got it on the sign up sheet at the shop. So if you want a copy of that, be sure to sign up for it on the sign up sheet at the shop. And we'll get you a copy of Kneel Before Zod #4, the Mark Spears cover, and you can get him to sign it. Do I think Mark will do some sketch commissions? Yes, I do. Um, how timely he will be with those, I don't know, but yes, Mike, I think he would do that.
Mike, I've got one at home that he did for me that was I think I've showed it on the show before. It was a Spawn sketch variant. And dude, that's one of my favorite books that I own. I would definitely, even if he has to take some time to do it, I would let him take some time to do it.
Can I come clean with you about that?
I think that the entire picture took him about 5 minutes to knock out.
That's probably about right. But can I come clean with you about that cover?
Come clean with it.
He gave me that as a giveaway for the show,
Oh,
and
that's fine.
I said there is no way I can do that to Alan.
Oh, I wouldn't have done it for myself.
And he said, okay, cool.
Dude, I love that book.
I knew you would, and I was like, there is no way I can do that to Alan. Alan has to have that. That's Alan's book.
The lines are so simple, and then with him coloring the eyes, the only color in it is the eyes, and he colored them green. Makes the entire thing just pop off. I love that thing. Yeah. There's a particular commission I'm going after, but unfortunately, it's not going to be Mark Spears this time around.
I know who it is, though.
Yeah, I've been looking to see if there was like a price list online to see kind of how to get a rough idea, and I have not been able to find a price list anywhere.
No, I haven't either.
So
just have to message him on Facebook. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw Maggie is his like agent, right?
Handler agent. She's the one that fights when he wants somebody to be handled. He sticks her on him.
Well, I was actually going to probably email both of them like maybe a week or two before the show.
I'd do it earlier.
Oh, yeah, I could do it earlier and just say, hey, this is kind of the idea that I had. I know you like to go to shops, before the show. Would you like to, blah, 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 blah.
Well, swing back by Haven again because you know the kind of welcome you got last time. But I suspect he and Bianca will swing back by.
You were grinning like the cat that ate the canary when I walked in the door.
Well, yeah, I was. It's not every day you get one of the hottest cover artists in comics who just walks into your shop and takes up residence for 3 hours.
Yeah, really?
I mean, it just doesn't happen every day.
Well, we just need it to happen one more time.
Yeah, I mean, he can make it an annual thing. I'm good with it.
Yep. Here's a transition to something I was not good with. Titans #7.
I haven't read that one yet.
It's part of the whole Beast World
Oh,
tie-in.
which I'm not loving.
Yeah, and there was only really and truly there were a couple of cool parts in it. I like Raven. She had a couple of cool parts. I think my favorite thing about it is when Wally realizes that Nightwing turned into a fox, and what Wally says about that is literally just one word, and the look on his face I thought was hysterical. But I'm kind of over the whole Beast World thing. It should be pretty much over with, I believe. Maybe
Should be.
close.
I think it's done now. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's still, I mean, Titan's book, it was a good book. I mean, I'm just kind of over the whole Beast World, and especially the simple fact that on the first page it says this takes place before such and such. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, such and such has already happened and over with. So why are we still dragging it out into here? Maybe they're just trying to wrap a couple of loose ends up. I don't know. I hope they wrap them up quick.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And then another book that I got to that it disturbed me in a good way. The Devil That Wears My Face, issue 4.
Oh man, yeah. That
That
book
was
is all kind of disturbing, but it sure is a great read.
the whole she had a vision and it was they had to find the path of the angels and the way he figured what it actually was. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely enjoying Mad Cave's version of horror. I think that's just absolutely great.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's horror, but it's not like over the top horror. I mean, there's definitely some elements of it that you're just kind of whatever.
Yeah, but there's a lot of psychological elements to it.
Yeah. Bless you, background sneeze. You mean to tell me my sister in the other room, you actually heard her sneeze?
I didn't know that's what that was, but yes.
That is the funniest damn thing that has happened tonight. That is awesome. Oh Lord. That's kind of all I've gotten to. I've got issue 1 and 2 of Avengers Twilight. I'll get my reading knocked out this weekend though, since it's going to be a rainy weekend and really can't do anything.
You've got to read Avengers Twilight sooner rather than later, I'm telling you.
And I think I have a relatively light week this week when I go to the shop tomorrow.
Embiggen me, because I got a couple of things I want to show off.
Embiggen you? Let's embiggen you. Where you? Bam.
You ready for this?
Let's do it. Oh, nice. So who did that cover?
Greg Horn.
That looks good.
I wish to goodness the glare, because you can't see the background behind him.
Yeah.
But it's the USS flag going down.
Yeah, with the glare, you really can't tell.
Oh crap. Yeah, unfortunately. Maybe turn it sideways, maybe you can tell. Wrong side, that didn't help.
Yeah, I think that actually made it worse. No, yes. Wait a minute. Go back to the way you just had it. Yeah, there's still a little bit of a glare, but you can actually tell what everything is now.
Yeah, it's the USS flag back there.
Yeah.
And this is signed by Greg Horn, who did the art, but also, and this is the good bit, also by Ray Park.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Ray Park, Darth Maul, and he also played Snake Eyes, obviously. But yes, Darth Maul signed this.
Now, is that one that you that you had signed yourself, or did you find that one somewhere?
Somebody found this and said, I know a guy who wants that. You know how I'll find books because I know that you want them?
Yep.
I have people who do the same thing for me.
They did a good job.
They did a good job. I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I want that. For anybody who does not know, if you missed out on the individual issues, that's a shame, but it's not too late. We have the trade.
That is a good read right there.
For $12.99. And heck, if you're a subscriber, you get your subscriber discount. For $12.99, you get one of the best comics of the year.
I would love, which I mean, it's not going to happen now for obvious reasons, but I would love to have seen a team up between him and Haro from Devil's Highway. That would have been so great.
That would have been so great. Now, there's nothing saying there couldn't be a prequel.
Yeah.
When he's a little younger, maybe, depending on where the timeline fits. That could work. And then the other thing, it's not comic book related, but I want to show it because I got a few people on here who will appreciate it. Let me see if I can get it out of this plastic thing.
Well, while you do that, we got
okay, here we go. This ought to eliminate the glare. Well, I might have spoke too soon because I opened the plastic, but it's not wanting to budge. Come on out. There you go. All right, here we go. You ready for this?
Oh, cool.
That's a 3D. It's a pin. That's the back of it.
That is cool. Where did you find that
at? Yet another friend who said, have you seen this? You should get one of these. And it was Corbin Michael Delaney.
That is really cool. I do like that.
It is very nice quality. It's gorgeous. It makes me very happy. Yeah, that's... I love 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It's one of my favorite movies. And that right there is just... That was an inspired vehicle design. It's gorgeous. Phenomenal. And I love the way the art in the background has the giant squid like attacking.
Yeah.
That's just so well done. So very well done, yeah.
You have got a question from Bill. Did you read Batman Superman World's Finest Annual last week?
I have not read the annual yet. It's on my list. It's sitting in my stack, but I have not gotten to the annual yet. I figured annuals are usually one-shots, and so I could kind of put it on the back burner with some other stuff that I had going on. But if you've got a good recommendation for it, well, I'm excited to read it then.
Mike Wazlowski says that certainly is the Nautilus. And I need to address this right quick. Nick, we covered this the other night, and we're going to cover it again now to make it official because there's an online record of it.
Uh-oh.
Omnibuy, plural, Omnibuy, are not comic books. They are a collected work. Therefore, they do not count as a comic book. Therefore, you still do not collect comic books. You collect display pieces. Welcome to thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
All right, so let's talk about one of the elephants in the room in the comic book community right now, shall we?
All right, let's do that.
Let's do it. All right, one of the elephants in the room. There's two of them at the moment, and I'm not, because I'm lazy, I'm not going to dig out the other one. But this is the one that just came out this week. Ultimate Black Panther #1. And why is that the elephant in the room, you say? Well, because Ultimate Spider-Man #1, which came out, 3 weeks ago?
Yep.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? Right before the show, I did a quick search of eBay sold items. And Ultimate Spider-Man #1 that came out 3 weeks ago is selling for anywhere between $45 and $80. Sold listings. That's people paying that price for it. This book is selling for anywhere from $29 to $45. And it came out yesterday. So everybody wants to know why. Why are these books selling like this? And is it the speculator crowd? Are they jumping back in? And did they find something they think is going to be valuable? Maybe. That's certainly a possibility. But it wasn't drawn or it wasn't driven by the speculator crowd the way that these things typically are, if that is the case. Um, Ultimate Spider-Man #1 didn't jump up in value until after it came out. People weren't like pre-selling copies for crazy money or anything like that. It came out and then the value went up. And that typically, not always, but typically is a sign that it's because the book was good. Right? And if you haven't read Ultimate Spider-Man, it was very, very good. So then Ultimate Black Panther started pre-sales a bit higher, and I think that's because it's riding the coattails of Ultimate Spider-Man #1. But it would dive pretty quickly after release if it weren't good. And it is good. Now, I don't think it's as good as Ultimate Spider-Man #1, but it is very, very good. But I wanted to talk about that and get your thoughts. And folks in the chat, I want to get your thoughts. What do you guys think is driving it? And do you think it's sustainable? Do you think it's going to stay a high dollar book? Do you think it's going to fall off? What are your thoughts?
I think that it's going to fall. I think that, and this is based off of the way I've seen people do these books in the past. Right now, there's a buzz for it, and it's extremely hard to find.
It does not help, I will say, that Penguin Random House released a notice a couple of days ago when people were trying to put in advance reorders for Ultimate Black Panther #1.
Yeah.
That somewhere along the way, somehow, some way, unexplained, 12,000 copies of Ultimate Black Panther #1 went missing. Now, are they damaged? Did the truck get lost? Are they sitting in storage in the wrong warehouse, marked in the wrong box somehow? Whatever it is, 12,000 copies of that book are missing.
Did a CGC employee show up? I mean, there's no telling. No telling whatsoever.
That could be. That could be a CGC employee showed up. Lord, the news going on about that. But anyway, let's get back to talking about this.
I think I think you might have two possible tells on this. One, selling out of both. Well, I mean, actually, you're going to have more than that. So let's look locally first. Selling out of both, how many extra subscribers did you gain out of it? Just on those titles. And I'm not talking about extra subscribers like new people coming in and opening a box. I'm just talking about how many of the people at the shop actually said, hey, go ahead and add that to my list too.
Ultimate Spider-Man #1, quite a few. I'd say probably 30% or more.
Oh, wow.
Of folks that read it. Ultimate Black Panther #1 just came out yesterday, so I haven't heard those kind of inputs back from people yet. But I expect likely that we will, at least to some degree.
And then we also have to, you do have a lot of people that they will only collect like maybe the first trade's worth.
Yep, that's pretty common.
So I think we're going to have to. This is a question that can only be answered with time. Out of that 30%, do they maintain? I would, let's just say if 10 people signed up for it. Let's just say it just makes the math easier. If 10 people signed up for it, if say by issue 5 or 6 rolls around and you still have 8, I would say it's a success. You only lost 2. I would also like to see what happens when a second printing comes out.
Yeah, the second printing was already announced for Ultimate Spider-Man #1, and it hasn't sold out already, but a lot of people are ordering it.
Yeah, I would like to see what happens after the second printing. Because, if there's a big enough demand to send it to a third printing, okay, then we may have something here.
I just got third prints on order for Duke #1.
I think they got something with Duke #1. I mean, I'm a little biased on that book, but at the end of the day, it ended up blowing my expectations out of the water.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Another
I feel like we
thing,
should talk about Cobra Commander #1 again, but I don't want to bore
another
people.
thing is, I mean, we're just going to have to. Which I did not pick up Ultimate Spider-Man 1. I did not pick up Black Panther #1. I do not own copies of them, so nobody can sit there and accuse me of saying, "Oh, he's just wanting the value of his comic book to go up." I don't own.
You didn't really enjoy Ultimate Invasion.
No, the only thing I liked about Ultimate Invasion was the Moon Knight Collective. Is what I called it. I thought that was kind of cool. It was different.
Well, the Moon Knight entity collective, whatever, is the bad guy in Black Panther #1.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, even out of that, it was like some crossover thing where everybody was fighting everybody, and Moon Knight ends up fighting, was it Ghost Rider? And it was in the annual. It was in the annuals. And you had this version of Moon Knight where Mark Spector had basically killed Khonshu and took it all for himself.
Yes, yes.
I would love to see that version of Moon Knight.
Oh, I would too.
I would love to see that out somewhere. I think that could be really fun.
Speaking of which, did you ever read Timeless #1, or did you pick that up?
I did not pick it up. I have so many books, Josh. It's hard to keep up sometimes.
Well, I know that, but it's very interesting. The whole Luke Cage as the powers that he has and the way he got them against a Moon Knight that is Danny Rand gone totally insane and horrifying. It's interesting.
Oh, Bill, I'm still picking up here and there. I mean, it's literally it's one of those that I'm in no big rush. And then on top of that, I'm on, and Josh will love to hear this. And this may sound weird to some people. I am only buying that G.I. Joe run from Haven.
I love that.
Because, and I mean, I'll be honest, we go out of town. The first thing I do when we get to where we're going is Google comic book shops near me.
Yep.
I think all collectors do that. But as weird as it sounds, and this is just, me being a little quirky, I want an entire run of something that I really love, that I know that I will keep. And I want to be able to say that I bought every single one of those books at one place. I want to be able to look at one particular piece of my collection and say, I bought every single bit of that at Haven. And I'll be able to do that with The Living Mummy and G.I. Joe, because I refuse to buy those two titles anywhere else. It's just a quirky little thing. I have got tons of books that I look at and I'm like, I don't know where they came from.
Where did I get that? Yeah, I have.
When did I get that? Or now this is going to sound kind of weird, but it is what it is. Girl dads out there, you'll understand. We were at this was several years ago. We went to Gulf Shores, and there was a comic book store in Foley that we stopped in. I mean, it was, nothing major or anything. And they had almost a complete run of the Strawberry Shortcake comic books that came out probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. The Bug wanted them. I bought them. Well, guess what? She just happened to be flipping through boxes at Haven one day a few weeks later, and found every single one that she did not find at that place in Foley.
That's awesome.
So it was, I mean, it was kind of neat. It was kind of weird, but she's got an entire run of this strawberry short, and there weren't, I don't know, maybe 20 of them, if that. There wasn't a ton of them.
No, there weren't a ton.
But she's got the entire run, and we can sit there and say a hole in the wall in Foley and Haven. No offense to the hole in the wall, because it was a really cool hole in the wall, but it was kind of the last place I was expecting to find a comic book store.
Yep. Speaking of which, a new comic book store has opened up in Arab. I don't know if you knew that.
Okay, that's the next to the last place I would expect to see a comic book store open.
Yep, I found out about it just the other day. But yeah, newest store opened in Arab. Anyway, so
sorry, I kind of got.
It's all good. Back to the Ultimate books. What do you think? I look at Ultimate Spider-Man, for example. It's written by Jonathan Hickman, who is known for his world building and his long, kind of intense, in-depth storytelling stuff, right? And the world that he set up in Ultimate Spider-Man #1 is awesome. I really, really dig it. It's fun just for the dynamic between Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson. That's a whole different ballgame. We've never seen that before in comics, and it's really great to see it. Ultimate Black Panther is interesting because in the Ultimate Invasion, the whole rebuilding of the Ultimate Universe, the Maker, who, for anybody who doesn't know, is the Reed Richards of the original Ultimate Universe. He and Miles Morales are the only two characters to survive that world colliding into the 616 world. And he has decided he doesn't care for the 616 world. He wants to go back home. But he wants to just be there, do his thing, and rule it without having all the interference from all those irritating people who made his life miserable last time. So that's what he does. And he does that by getting rid of Spider-Man and all the other heroes, right? Anybody who could become somebody that could stop him in the future, no thank you. He doesn't want them around. As I understand it, even though there was an Ultimate Black Panther in the original universe, original Ultimate Universe, it seems that in this world, Black Panther, Wakanda never came out of hiding in the original Ultimate Universe because he didn't do anything that stopped Black Panther from existing. So Ultimate Black Panther #1, Wakanda is still hidden. Wakanda is still under wraps and nobody knows anything about them. But the entity that is Moon Knight in the Ultimate Universe, which is a combination of Ra and Khonshu, is horrible. They're going around. They're essentially taking over Africa through violence, and all these little villages, all these little civilizations too. It's not just tiny little villages everywhere, but they're taking over the whole kit and caboodle. And they're pretty awful people. Wakanda's not doing anything about it. They're just watching and observing, but they're not doing anything. And finally, they get propelled into action. And they're like, well, I guess we have to do something about it. And so they do. And that's kind of where the first issue ends of Black Panther. But it's really good. It's a compelling story. And will it last? Will it remain compelling? That I don't know. But it has the potential to. And the art is really, really good. So it's not like it's gone up in value a lot just because. It has some quality to it. Is it quality that makes it a $40 book the day after it came out? I don't think so. That's a bit of a stretch for any book. But it's really, really good, and I'm excited to see what the next issue is. I want to read it. But we sold out of it within 2 hours yesterday.
So, That's what I was just looking at online. There's only going to be 4 Ultimate titles, correct?
So far as I know.
The Spider-Man, Ultimate Universe, Black Panther, and X-Men.
And Marvel never did meet a book where they couldn't ZYP it to death.
Oh God, yeah. Especially if the X-Men book comes out different, it comes out halfway decent, we'll have about 45 Ultimate X-Men.
Now, I do not think the X-Men book is going to be halfway decent. That's something I am confident about, actually.
Yeah.
It's written and drawn by Peach Momoko. So stylistically, it doesn't fit into the world at all. From an artistic perspective, it's like its whole separate thing, and it doesn't feel cohesive with that world.
Yeah.
And her storytelling in her Demon Days sagas and all that stuff, did not care for it.
I have never read anything that she's written.
You're not missing anything.
In fact, I don't even own anything by her. No, or I mean, like cover art or anything.
Yeah. Her style is definitely not my style. I think we all know that at this point. I'm not a big manga guy, and her style is very, very manga. Um, I don't care for it. And the fact that she's doing Ultimate X-Men, I don't think Ultimate X-Men is going to carry the same value as the Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimate Black Panther. I just don't think it will at all. I could be wrong, but I certainly don't think so.
And then the Ultimate Universe title, is that just going to have everybody of what's going
Well,
on?
Ultimate Universe was just a one-shot.
Okay, so they're not doing
and then
anything
Ultimate Invasion was a 4-issue limited series just setting up the Ultimate World. So right now we've only got the 3 books that have been solicited, I think.
Gotcha.
Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, and Ultimate X-Men. And I'm sure there will be others. But one of the cool things in Ultimate Black Panther is when you meet them, T'Challa is married to Okoye. She's left the Dora Milaje and she's married to T'Challa. So that's pretty cool.
Now, and since I haven't read it, and I've only read Ultimate Invasion, based on what you've read, and so we know that. So for those of you that didn't read Ultimate Invasion, Tony Stark was not Iron Man. His dad was Iron Man. And
Howard,
Howard Stark was Iron Man. But the way that it ends, it leads you to believe that Tony's fixing to become Iron Man.
That's correct.
So with what you've read so far, do you think that a team up of Spider-Man, Black Panther, and too late, Dick, and this Iron Man, do you think that they're strong enough to stop the Maker, or are they going to have to bring more into it, more titles? Because eventually they're going to have to stop the Maker.
Well, eventually they will. But right now, he's out of the picture. He was what set this whole thing up, but now he is stuck, and he is not in the picture. But eventually he's going to escape, and he is going to re-enter the picture, and he's going to be very mad. Do I think Black Panther, Iron Man, and Spider-Man will be enough to stop him? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not even close. I don't think so. But no, it's very good. It's I've enjoyed what I've read so far. Ultimate Invasion was a bit cumbersome for me. I didn't love it.
It seemed very dry to me.
It was. It was very dry. It was very like, I am building a world. I am putting things out here. For the love of all things holy, people, just accept it. And read through all the boring stuff. And I did not care for that. There was a more interesting way to say it, I think. But it was it set everything up. It was just not exciting to read at all. It was kind of like wading through an encyclopedia.
Yeah, and that might be what completely and totally turned me off on it.
Yeah, no,
Because,
I agree. It was not an exciting read. I wasn't looking forward to it every month. I was more like, well, I guess I should see what happens here in this really, extended encyclopedia article.
yeah, and
Um,
it was one of those things where it was like, okay, it's only 4 issues. I'm going to finish it so we can talk about it on the show, and I can at least have a halfway decent conversation about it.
but his writing on Ultimate Spider-Man #1 was very different. It was very focused
Yeah.
on the characters, not on here's the big thing I'm trying to set up. It was very focused on the characters, and it was refreshing. It was really good.
We're talking
Black
about
Panther.
Ultimate
I'm sorry.
Invasion, Nick.
Yeah, they haven't put that out in an omnibus yet, so
You'll never see it. It's only 4 issues.
it won't be an omnibus. It'll just be a bus.
Yeah.
It'll be a short bus.
I don't need to say what just come to mind.
But no, Nick, they have not found the 12,000 copies of Ultimate Black Panther that they lost yet.
Nick, they said that the first place they're going to look is CGC. They're probably there.
That's right.
Yeah, the whole thing with Ultimate Invasion is literally why I was like, I'm just not going to read these Ultimate titles. But at the same time, there's also that greedy collector in me in the background that's like, I could have had an $80 book for $4.
Yep.
But at the same time, I mean, it would have just ended up another book in my collection because I'm just not big on selling my books.
Right. I mean, James has got it. He's exactly right. I would read a book just of Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson because they're so cool, and it would be totally like a 50s era newspaper reporter kind of a book. Preaching against the man, all this kind of stuff. It was really good. The dynamic between them was fantastic. The first time you see him, you see J. Jonah Jameson like from here, mustache up, right, or chin up, right, and he's yelling Parker, and the Parker he's yelling at is not Peter but Uncle Ben. It was really good. It was a very character focused issue, and it was very good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I love what Hickman did with
House of X and Powers of X.
House of X and Powers of X. But it was when the ongoing series started that it fell apart for me.
Yeah.
So
and
now
this seems to be the opposite, right? The setup was kind of ugh, but at least with the first issue, Ultimate Spider-Man is great.
Yeah, but now it's like, how long is he actually going to do this? I mean, is this something that he's going to go for a while, or is it he's just setting all this up to pass off to somebody else?
I don't know. I don't know. I tell you what, I'd love to see. Of course, nobody's going to be surprised by this. I'd love to see Chip Zdarsky take it. Get to see how Zdarsky handles an older Spider-Man who's married with kids, with Uncle Ben. I mean, I think Zdarsky could just do so much with that.
He really could, but here's my thing on Zdarsky writing Spider-Man. We know he could do it. We know it would be great. If Zdarsky ever writes Spider-Man and he does not do Sin Eater, I'm going to be disappointed no matter what. I think that Zdarsky and Sin Eater is a combo that the comic book industry needs.
Yep.
But at the same time, with Spider-Man, would Marvel stay out of Zdarsky's way and let him just go? Because, I mean, they did with Daredevil, and we saw what he did with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested, but I will say I have enjoyed the heck out of Ultimate Spider-Man, that first issue, and our subs on it did increase dramatically after it came out, and people read it. We've had a minor increase on Ultimate Black Panther, but it just came out yesterday, so very few people have had a chance to read it yet. Now, going back to writers that we like and that are doing great stuff right now, I feel like we need to talk about Doctor Strange. That
You
picture
texted
I
me
sent.
about that the other night, and
Yes, I did.
was it Jed McKay? Was he taking that over?
Well, I think he's writing it now. I just haven't been reading it. But in the pages of Doctor Strange, he is putting together a new Defenders team that has Doctor Strange, Black Cat, Taskmaster, and Hunter's Moon.
Okay, time out. Are we talking about current Daredevil run, or are we talking about something else where we saw Father Matt?
No, he's talking about the current run.
Okay. Well, see, I still haven't read Avengers Twilight, and I know it's an older Daredevil, so I didn't know if he was Father Matt in that.
He definitely is not.
Okay, good. I do like Father Matt, by the way.
Yeah, I do too.
So we talked about that the other night, and I was if you noticed, I made a comment and then I immediately backed away from the conversation because I thought, no, we need to have this conversation on Shop Talk.
You're right.
This is what I was thinking the other night when you texted me that.
Isn't it? I mean, that's a fun team. It's going to be very strange, but it's going to be fun.
Here's my thing about that Defenders team, though. With McKay doing Moon Knight, in this is literally the people that have read the McKay's Moon Knight run are going to understand what I'm talking about. Literally in an issue, he opens the door and Tigra is there. It's the first time you see Tigra. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, okay, why?
Yeah, what a weird character to bring into this.
Why? And then as it progresses and you see the direction of what this relationship was and where it's heading and how it grows, it kind of turned into what Taylor did with Nightwing and Batgirl. Will they, won't they? Type deal. McKay did the same thing. He literally took Tigra from a background character that I could care less if it was in a comic or not to, is she going to be in the next issue? I want to see more of this character. And you were the one that pointed out, now we've seen an angry Tigra.
Oh, that was scary.
I mean, the way he progressed what was ultimately an obscure character, I would love to have seen her on this Defenders team. I think that would have rounded and as much time as he didn't spend a ton of time developing the Tigra character. Mm-mm. But he spent quality time building the Tigra character.
Yep.
So I would love to see more of his Tigra right now.
Well, that brings us around to this Blood Hunt story that's coming up, the big event that Marvel's doing, right? I'm curious about your take on this. And this goes for everybody in the chat. I want to hear what you guys think. They're doing this new Blood Hunt story, which is essentially vampires coming for the characters in Marvel, right? So not like the most creative thing right out of the box. But the team of people that feature prominently in the Blood Hunt does include Hunter's Moon, by the way. I don't know if you saw that, but that's awesome. A really interesting group of folks. And they have two versions of #1 available. There's the regular new version to go on the stands. And then there is the polybagged version that has more pages and more blood. And I'm sure it costs more dollars. But it's more like telling the same story in PG-13 and R, right?
And see, I want the R version because I want to see how far Marvel is willing to push that envelope.
I'm curious about that too. And I suspect most people, that's what they're going to want.
Yeah.
But I'm curious in the...
yeah, Jay, too.
I'm curious about the the difference in the content, right? So you have to have at least one regular number one on hand to just see what the heck is the difference.
Yeah.
Where are the extra pages added, and how visceral is the gore? Because I'm guessing it's going to be pretty strong.
Because and I could be wrong on this because I do not read a ton. I read enough Marvel, but I don't read a ton of Marvel. I think the last time they might have really and truly pushed the boundaries was a particular Punisher issue where it was pretty much, you know what, at the end, remember the children? You know what issue I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That was a very disturbing and envelope pushing issue, period.
I agree.
So I'm kind of, but I also, that wasn't that like just before Disney took over?
Yes.
So we've never seen anything like that since. And honestly, if you have not read that issue, it's a great issue. It will bother you. It will bother you on some level, but at the end of it, you're like, hell yeah, he did what had to be done. I don't blame him.
Well, and it was intended to bother you on some level, right?
It will, and I think that if it does not bother you, there's something wrong with you. But now with the Disney takeover since then, I'm really curious as to how far they'll try to push the envelope.
I'm curious to see how it goes too. I'll see what I trust Jed McKay as a writer. He's earned that from me, right? He's got a lot of equity with me, so I trust Jed McKay is going to tell a good story. He clearly likes vampires because they're in Moon Knight. He's got Blood Hunt, and I'm guessing the vampires in Blood Hunt are tying into Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Right. So I can see where that tie would come from, but he's got Blade and Hunter's Moon, and I forget who the other folks are, the primary characters in Blood Hunt. But Blade and Hunter's Moon, I'd read that book all day long.
I am pulling it up now. We're gonna see what we can find. Oh yeah, I've made no bones about it. I love the Hunter's Moon character. I would like to see him in his own standalone book. Yep. Do I think that there would be an audience for him to have his own standalone book? I don't know. That's kind of, an iffy one right there. He can definitely carry Vengeance of Moon Knight. He could definitely carry that series.
Well, Vengeance of Moon Knight has its own Moon Knight.
Yeah. And we have a particular cover coming up with him fighting that Moon Knight on that cover.
And it looks amazing.
Yes, it does.
Holy smokes, that looks amazing.
I'm trying to, but
are you pulling up Blood Hunt #1? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I was looking, and it's the new variant covers is what pulled up.
Oh, nobody wants that.
Well, honestly, I mean, it's the only way they're going to sell a Spider-Man book, but this Amazing Spider-Man 48 vampire variant cover looks pretty good.
I believe it.
We'll just do this.
While you're pulling that up, let's change gears real quick to Thundercats from Dynamite.
I was going to ask you about that. How has that gone over? I know it just came out yesterday.
We sold out of it today.
Good.
I ordered up on it with the anticipation that people were going to want it. But we sold out of it today. So Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats. Essentially, if you're making a comic book of toys from the 80s right now, you're probably got a good shot of doing well.
Yeah. All right. So right here, join the Avengers Blade Bloodline. Who's Bloodline?
I don't know.
Spider-Man, Hunter's Moon, Tiger.
Is that Blade's daughter?
Maybe. I don't know. Doctor Strange, Clea as the dance.
Oh, Clea? Yeah.
Yeah, Clea. I do like the fact that they're calling out Hunter's Moon and Tigra now.
That's true. But yeah, it's
Oh, it's only 5 issues? That's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
No, that's one that we definitely need to sink our teeth into.
Now you're talking about a different Tigra there, James. You're talking about Tigra and Thundercats. Uh, are you saying that Tigra was weird, or are you talking about the Tigra in that's been in Moon Knight lately and is in the Blood Hunt story? Yes, Blade has a daughter. That happened recently.
I mean, honestly, this art looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's their big story. They're not gonna put unless they're putting John Romita Jr. or somebody on it who's kind of phoning it in my opinion. The art's going to be good. That looks good. I'm interested in reading it.
Yeah, no, so here's my question on it. Or one of my questions on it. Is it just 4 issues, or is it going to be crossing over into other titles?
It's 5 issues.
Oh, 5 issues, sorry.
And I hope it doesn't, but it probably will. I would rather it be self-contained. I hate having to buy a whole bunch of other series to get the whole story. That drives me up a wall.
That is my issue with these event books, is when it basically covers every single book, and it seems like it goes on forever.
Forever and ever. Forever,
I think that if they're going to do a major event that crosses titles like that, it should be one time a year. It happens over the summer, and then it's done. If you want to put out like some Halloween specials or some Christmas specials, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night, that would be an outstanding Christmas special every year. You don't have to do 4 issues. You could do an oversized one shot if you wanted to.
Yep.
You know, if you like Marvel Zombies, you could do that every Halloween. That would be like a good little thing for Halloween if you wanted to. It doesn't have to be part of the new continuity or anything. Just do like a massive one shot or 4 issues for the other month. So yeah, I'm kind of down on a lot of these event books because
we're all sick of them.
Yeah, it seems
like there's nothing ever comes of it. There's no consequence whatsoever to any of it, and if there's no consequence, then there's no point.
Yep. Beast World, perfect example. All Beast World did was get in the way of Titans.
Yep.
That's ultimately all it did to me, was get in the way of reading that.
It's a speed bump to what I want to be reading.
Yeah. Night Terrors. All it ultimately did was keep putting off me reading Wonder Woman #1.
Night Terrors was less of a speed bump and more of like a really ginormous sinkhole.
There were some good issues, but the bad issues heavily outweighed the good ones.
Yeah, there weren't enough good moments to make that worth it at all.
I mean, after reading Night Terrors, I would definitely love to see a Deadman, Zombie, Sandman team up buddy cop book. I think that could be fun.
Yep.
But that's ultimately what I took away from Night Terrors. I love DC versus vampires so much more than Night Terrors.
Oh, yeah. I haven't had a chance to read this yet, so I don't know if it's good, but Captain America, Black Widow, and Logan together again for the last time. Wolverine, Madripoor Nights, written by Chris Claremont. The kid's pretty talented. He might make something of himself one day.
Yeah, he might have a future one day.
He's going to be coming to the expo this year. So if you want some of his new stuff to take to him to get signed, this would be a really good book for that. Get you a Chris Claremont signature on a brand new book. Make him understand you still like the stuff he does, not just the stuff he did. But yeah, Wolverine, Black Widow, and Captain America. That iconic X-Men number 268 cover.
Yep.
With them, phenomenal. And yeah, what's not to enjoy? Give it a read. See what you think.
Was that new this week or was it last week?
That's new this week. I haven't had a chance to read this either, but that's new this week.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Zdarsky does with I mean, we've kind of got a glimpse of what he does with Joker. in a couple of issues back, but I really want to see which direction he goes in with this like Joker year one type story.
I am very interested in that. Can't wait to see what it is. Uh, but I know you still haven't read the first one of Avengers Twilight, but the second one, it's a good story, man. You need to get on that. I'm very interested to hear what you say about it. You look very puzzled. Why do you look puzzled? Are you frozen and locked up? What are you doing? I think you're all frozen and locked up. We lost an Alan. Or have we lost a me? And I'm just talking to myself. Oh, we lost an Alan. He says his power went out. So how he's still there, I don't know. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. So that's a shame, guys. Alan's gone forever. Whatever shall we do? I don't know. Let's see what comic I got here on top of the pile. We talked about Ghost Machine last week, so no need to rehash that one. What are you guys reading in the chat? What's something you're reading that you guys want to talk about? Somebody share something. Typical Alan. Oh Lord, that was so funny. That was so funny. That Paul Jenkins interview was so great. I really loved doing that. Would love to talk to him again sometime. But yeah, what are you guys reading? Somebody say something you're reading. I love all the manga I'm reading, Nick. Every last bit of it. I think it's fantastic. Best manga I've ever read. But Nick, you've got all these omnibuses. Which ones have you read recently? What's going on? Tell us some stuff. James, tell us what you're reading. Let's hear from you. And thanks for the heads up on Thundercats #1 because I have not got to read that yet. I don't think that I should do a live reading of the Bat manga. That seems like a bad idea. I don't know where the tentacles are going to come from, or what's going to happen, or who's doing what. The current story arc of Kingdom Come in World's Finest, that has been great. Mark Waid writing Kingdom Come is just a thing that's supposed to happen. So I always enjoy that. Let's see, got to Justice League. Enjoyed the release. The Kraken line was pretty great in the Justice League versus Kong versus Godzilla. That was good. What? Haven't read anything in 2 months. Nick. That's not good, man. How are we supposed to talk to you about this stuff if you're not reading it? Have you read the Godzilla book you just bought? Have you, Nick? Have you? You should. You need to give that a read because, that's the first appearance of Godzilla in a comic book. Give it a whirl. See what you got. That's what it's there for. Let's see. Is there any other news in comics that we should be talking about? There was yet another scandal with CGC, but those are just kind of becoming a daily thing now. So that's fun. That's being displayed. You definitely, I think you picked up a copy of Ghost Machine #1, Nick. You should read that. You should. I don't know if you picked one up, Mike, but if you didn't, you probably ought to give it a look. I think at a minimum, there's a couple of books within there that you would enjoy. James, I don't know if you read it, but I thought it was pretty good. Bill, what was the last old back issue of G.I. Joe that you read? Because you just picked up 26 and 27, didn't you? Some of the back history of Snake Eyes the other day. I want to say that was you that picked that up. I know I sold 26 and 27 to somebody. That was pretty fun. One fun thing I'll just share with you guys that's been happening at the shop lately is we've had quite a few the past 3 weeks, maybe. We've had quite a few young kids coming through, uh, like on Saturdays with their families and getting into comics for the first time. And there are a few things cooler than introducing a kid to comics and saying, "Here you go, kid. Find something you like, and this will be a hobby that sticks with you for years." Uh, it's fun to introduce people to new things. It's fun to introduce somebody to Tolkien or to just a good comic that they're going to like. All that kind of stuff is great. But here lately, we've had a lot more young kids coming through with their moms and dads and stuff, uh, and coming through excited about comics, and that's been really really good. I've been very happy about that. Uh, People are always telling me that the hobby is dying and all this kind of thing, but I don't know. We keep having kids come through the doors, and that's how the hobby gets perpetuated. So I think that's good. No, I would not give a kid Amazing Spider-Man from recent years. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Yay, he's back.
I was literally sitting here talking, and then boom, everything just went out.
Yep.
So, and about the time that the flashlights got lit, power started coming back on.
Possum chew through the wiring again?
There's no telling.
Probably a
Nick,
raccoon.
Nick, if I'm ever in the store and a child is like, "Where do I start with the ASM?" and I'm gonna be like, "Look, the first place to start with ASM is the greatest issue ever written, The Death of Gwen Stacy." And we're just gonna start there.
Ouch.
What up, bluffing stuff? Yeah, everything went over here, Chris. It all went. I mean, it was just done. So,
Ooh,
but
the
it's all
static
out.
electricity in that fleece was something. My hair is all just like now.
Well, maybe the electricity your hair pulled from that fleece is what killed our power
Your
over
power
here.
went out first. I want that on record.
Yes,
What's happening, man?
yes, Nick. Gwen deserved it.
Why did she deserve it?
Because she was getting in the way of true love.
It is funny. Growing up, I would read Spider Man mostly through Marvel Tales, right? The reprints.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the difference and I couldn't afford them anyway, the Spider Man. So I would read Spider Man, and I did not like Gwen Stacy at all growing up. I really didn't. But as I got older, I've got more of an appreciation for her. I grew to like her quite a lot. Uh, I still like Mary Jane better, but that could also just be because I've always had a thing for redheads. I don't know.
So, do you think that they will ever fix that book?
Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They've only had 20 years to fix it. Oh wait, they should have been able to do it in one. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I think they certainly can fix it. Whether they will fix it is a very different question, and I do not know the answer to that.
I mean, Nick, what do you think? I mean, you've read. I mean, you're like a Spider-Man connoisseur. What do you think it would take to fix ASM?
That's
So,
a
I
good
mean, I
question,
would
and I
love
would
to
like to
know.
hear that from you, Nick.
I mean, I would love to know your thoughts on that. What you think it would actually take to fix ASM? Because, I mean, honestly, they fixed Fantastic Four. I mean, Ryan North took care of that. The last issue was a little different
Yep.
because, I mean, it was nothing but the kids, but it worked. It was almost like a Goonies style adventure there for a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I did enjoy it, but also with that one issue, I was like, can we send the kids back into the future again?
Let's just talk about Goonies for a second. I like having a show where everybody on it likes Goonies. Okay, that's. We haven't mentioned that joke in a few days. It has been 0 days since we mentioned that. Uh,
Yeah, I mean it's can't argue.
yeah, you bring something up there. The Parker luck has always been a thing, right? From day one. Things go wrong for Peter. But it's not because he's an idiot. It's not because he does things wrong. It's just things happen. Uh, and somewhere along the way, that seems to have transitioned to he can't do anything right. And that's a very different thing from bad things happen or things don't just work out. Things don't work out for him. Uh,
But and I brought it up a ton of times, and Nick's never going to read it. But in Renew Your Vows, you definitely get hit with the Parker luck in the very beginning of it.
yes.
But then it was, yeah, he did what he had to do. You can't blame him for what he did, even though he blamed himself. And I'm purposely leaving something out.
Yep.
Because even after, I mean, it's been several years since that came out. It's still a phenomenal read. But what you got from that point on, that was the Peter Parker and Mary Jane that we had been wanting for years. It's still the Peter Parker and Mary Jane that we want.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't we get back to something like that? I mean, if they could have just literally took Renew Your Vows off of it and just slid right in and, hey, this is your new Spider-Man series, and I'd have been fine with it.
Yes. I agree.
The Lost Hunt, believe it or not, was pretty
Yep.
good.
Yep.
I mean, it was pretty good. It's not what I thought it was going to be. It was a really good Peter Parker, Mary Jane story, but on a different level. Renew Your Vows, pick up the trade and read it. I think you would love it. Yeah, I mean, I literally the last time I read Spider-Man, he was wearing that blue and white suit thing, social media, whatever it was. That was the last issue, and it's been a couple of years. It was when he kind of died and Ben Riley took over, but it was like a corporate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just lost me.
Parker Industries and all that. That was all stupid.
Yeah.
You fundamentally change those aspects of the character that make him appealing. Like Joe Quesada said in years ago when I saw him at the D23 Expo, he's like, we had to do something because he said we never should have married Peter Parker and Mary Jane in the first place. Having them get married made him older and inaccessible to a whole swath of our demographic. But we couldn't let him get divorced because that makes him older and more inaccessible even still. And we can't kill her because that does the same thing. It makes it even worse. So we age him out, we change him in all these ways that we don't want to do. And okay, that's your thoughts. That's what you believe about that. Making him a CEO of a massive company fundamentally changes him in a way that certainly doesn't keep him in a relatable demographic, right? That doesn't keep him as somebody that people can relate to. That was stupid. Changing him out and putting Doc Ock in his body, stupid.
Are
What
they
are
getting
you
ready to do
doing?
something like that again?
Oh yeah, enough people thought that wasn't hideous that they're doing another limited run of Superior Spider-Man. It was
Yeah, that's
just
dumb.
dumb. Like, what are you doing? Stop it. Don't do this. Let alone let it run for 100 freaking issues.
Honestly, as much as I would love to see Zdarsky take over Spider-Man, because he proved in the page in just a few issues, just a couple of issues actually, in the pages of Daredevil, he could write Spider-Man if he wants to. I would much rather see Ryan North take over Spider-Man
I would like Ryan North to take over Amazing Spider-Man.
because he would definitely take it back down to a
What it
relatable
should be.
character. Yeah.
Yes. And he knows how to write family. He can give you a married Peter Parker and MJ and not make you like miserable about it.
Yep.
He would be perfect to write Amazing Spider-Man. I was saying Zdarsky on Ultimate Spider-Man
Oh,
if
okay.
Hickman leaves.
Yeah.
Let us see how he handles an older Spider-Man, married with kids, and how he handles the Uncle Ben and the J. Jonah Jameson relationship, all that stuff. I would be interested in seeing that. That could be interesting. Um,
Okay. Now, Nick, I hate you because now I got to go follow this low guy so I'll know what you're talking about.
you really don't. You don't have to read that at all. Uh, you really don't. It's something when Marvel is telling people or telling a writer, don't go to conventions because somebody's going to kill you because you did this thing or that thing to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe editorial, don't let him do stupid things to Spider-Man. Now people shouldn't be horrible and they certainly shouldn't take things so seriously that they're going to inflict violence on somebody because of a way they wrote a comic book character. That is deplorable and horrible. But for the love of all things holy, editorial, do your job.
Okay, I'll try to track him down later. I got sidetracked. But I mean that's just it though. Editorial doesn't necessarily do their job. I mean, they're getting in the way of the actual writers. And it's weird that they only do it on certain books.
Yes,
Um,
it's the books that should be their foundation books, their flagstone books. It's Spider-Man and X-Men. And let's be honest, what's the state of both of those books?
oh, well, we all know the state.
They're horrible.
They need to do what DC is doing. I mean, as much as people don't want to hear that, Marvel could learn from DC right now. DC is giving us character-driven comics again.
Yep. And it makes all the difference in the world. Even an issue that's not great is a good issue. It's
Yep.
good. It just didn't wow me.
Yeah, and
Right?
that's that
As
issue.
opposed to I walked away ticked off
Yeah.
and thinking I need to just stop throwing good money after bad.
And honestly, that's what Spider-Man became to me. I was throwing good money after bad. It was the same thing with the X-Men and the whole Crocodile thing, whatever the hell that was.
Krakatoa or Cobra la 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 la.
Yeah, Kroger, la 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 la. I felt like I was throwing good money after bad. You literally took, if you're going to send a group of X-Men on a mission, and there's all sorts of danger in that mission, and then you really and truly eliminate the danger because yeah, we're going to kill this entire team, but they're going to be reborn as these pod people and we're going to download their memories. That was just dumb to me. I mean,
no consequence. Consequence is gone.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what the mission is, and it doesn't matter if they come home or not. I mean, if they don't come home, guess what? They don't have to. They're already home. They just grow another one in the pod.
Yep.
Yeah, they need to get away from that type of crap. And that actually goes, something else. Is that Marvel getting in the way of Marvel, or is that Disney getting in the way of Marvel?
That's not Disney. X-Men hasn't been good in decades. Long before Marvel came into the picture. Same with Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They had lost their way long before Disney came in.
Well, I mean, I know that, but I'm talking about current day now. Has Disney?
I just don't think Disney's fixed it, but I don't think they're in the way.
Yeah.
I don't see them having any involvement in that at all. Disney wants them to crank out ideas that will turn into movies that will turn into money. And right now they're cranking out ideas that turn into crap.
Yep. That's exactly what it's turning into. I mean, don't get me wrong. They still, I mean, they have titles that I really enjoy. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely. There's quite a few.
they've got titles that are must read titles every time they come out for me.
But
But
it's not their flagship books,
yeah,
which it
it's
should be.
not X-Men. It's not Spider-Man.
Nope.
Um, Fantastic Four is once again a must read title for me.
Finally.
Finally,
And I
after a
will
long
say
time.
the the number of subscribers that we have, if that's remotely indicative of what people are selling across the country, um, that tells me that readers are enjoying it. Because we're not in the first 3 or 4 issues. The bloom is off the rose. You know what you're getting. We're what, 17, 18 issues in at this point? And yet our sub numbers are holding steady, and we add one every now and again. But our sub numbers are holding steady, and our sub numbers on Fantastic Four are higher than Amazing Spider Man, much higher than X Men. They're higher than Batman. That tells you something. It's the quality of the product, and it's the with what people want to read is that kind of story. Just listen to what people are saying. They are telling you what they want, and they're doing it with their dollars.
Yeah, I was looking
No
to see.
gimmicky covers, right? There's not 37 different covers. They're not having to pull any shenanigans to make people buy Fantastic Four. They're just buying it because it's good.
So, what about the current? Because we never mentioned this, and I just saw it on here. What about the current Captain America comic?
By J. Michael Straczynski.
Yeah, how is that doing?
It's not doing any better or worse than previous iterations of Captain America, which is a shame because the comic book is very good. He's kind of done a really interesting thing with this world. Steve Rogers, there's flashbacks, a lot of flashbacks to when Steve Rogers was a kid, which is really cool. There's a lot of those. And part of that is because he was kind of going around New York and he came upon the building that he lived in for a while when he was younger. And there was some shenanigans going on when the owners trying to evict people and throw people out so they could tear the building down and build a more expensive high rise. But they couldn't legally throw the people out, so they were pulling all kinds of shenanigans and stuff. And he steps in, and he of course puts a stop to that. But he ends up, he's like, I've got all this money from all my decades in the Avengers and such, and he buys the building and he moves into the building. And so when people have a problem, they call him like, "Hey, you need to come and fix this toilet. Hey, you need to come and help me get into my apartment. I locked myself out again."
Okay, I can
Um,
picture Captain America fixing the neighbor's toilet, but if you're on a mission, you don't have time for that.
True. I'll get back to it, Mrs. Wadowski. I have to go and stop the Red Skull right now. I'm so sorry. Um, but the flashbacks are really cool because you'll see these stories like, here's this memory he has from 1938 or 1939, right? And then you flash back to the same room, the same everything, but now it's modern day. And there's a different story that's happening, but it's kind of, you can see the ties to it because J. Michael Straczynski is really good at tying these things together. No, Captain America right now is a really interesting story. All the flashbacks are cool. The cast of supporting characters that he's put of the people in the building, like you care about those people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just random people. But the story that you get to see of Steve Rogers before he became Captain America, you don't get to see a whole lot of that, right? You see the origin story and then that's done. Now he's always just Captain America. He's not that skinny, wimpy guy who stands up on principle and gets the ever loving crap beat out of him. He does the beating. But now you're getting to see both sides of that coin. You get to see the guy who became Captain America and why he was the right choice to be that, right? Uh, and I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. It's a really solid series. And I believe it was Captain America #2 or #3. They were doing the Moon Knight variant month across all the Marvel books.
Yeah.
That cover was awesome.
I see my thing on when they do these variant, and that before anybody says anything, yes, I have bought the Disney variants to help boost the Spider-Man sales, because it's Disney and those variants are great. But when they start doing these variants across multiple titles that have really don't have
Nothing to
anything
do with
to
the
do with it,
character.
I'm just not into that. I mean, it's kind of, if you want to give me like an A and a B cover, great, so be it. But at least have it pertain to the book.
I agree with that, and I'm going to absolutely out myself as a complete hypocrite because I 100% agree with you, but I also did get the Moon Knight covers. The Moon Knight covers were almost universally very good.
Yeah.
They were just good art. So yeah, I'm a complete hypocrite, but I did pick up the Moon Knight covers. You've got a good point there, Bill, though, about maybe people are burnt out on Marvel because of the movies and they just were oversaturated. That certainly could be. I don't know that it is, but it certainly could be a factor that plays into all of this.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, there for a while, it was, yeah, we had Marvel TV shows. Um, we had, Disney was cranking out Marvel kids cartoons.
Have a good one, Mike. It's
Right.
always
See you,
good to
Mike.
see you,
Have a good
sir.
one. So yeah, I mean, I think Bill's got a great point, and that's probably a lot of what's going on. Everybody's just burned out because we've got 7, 8 different versions of Spider-Man right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've got the MCU version of Spider-Man. We've got the Disney Junior version of Spider-Man. And yes, I do watch that stuff every once in a while. We've got, other animated versions of Spider-Man. We've got, 2, 3 different Spider-Man books. I mean, it's just kind of
oversaturated.
Yeah, oversaturation. So yeah, I think Bill's got a great point.
Yeah.
I know that we are getting ready to drop off because we're closing in on the 9 p.m. hour.
Correct.
I wanted to do something new, a new way to end the show. And I have not said anything to you because I want to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
And then I'll give my answer.
Uh-oh.
Give me one book coming out next week that you're looking forward to. You don't even have to tell me why. One book that you're looking forward to getting in your hands next week when it comes out.
Well, that would require me to know what's coming out next week.
Well, you just shot that to hell in a handbasket.
I mean, I should know what's coming out, except where I used to get an invoice that told me what was coming out the following week. I don't get that anymore. I don't know what all's coming out next week. So if you've got your thing that pulls up all the releases that are coming out, do that and I'll tell you.
I've got it. I think I know which one here. I'll just share my screen.
Is it going to be Duke #3? Is that coming out next week?
That does not come out next week.
Because I am very excited for that one.
Oh, come on. I don't want you there. Okay. So this is what we have coming out next week. We do have Transformers #5, but that's not what I'm excited for, even though it is a good one. We've got
Moon Knight. Yeah, definitely excited for that.
Moon Knight. I'm looking forward to Sandman. We got the new Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver starting next week.
For some reason, I'm not as excited about that one because I never really liked Quicksilver that much.
Well, here's what
I see, The Hunger in the Dusk. There it is. I've been waiting on that.
That's what I'm looking forward to next week.
it's a good series when it's you're waiting 4 weeks for the next issue to come out, and you're that 2 to 3 week mark, and you start jonesing.
Yep.
Like, man, where is that book? Surely it's already been 4 weeks. Uh, I feel that way about the Hunger in the Dusk, and we did sell. Who was it bought Hunger in the Dusk 1 through 5 the other day? I forget who it was, but somebody picked up the whole thing because we had recommended it,
Well, they did an outstanding
and
job of picking it up.
immediately said, "Put that on my list."
It's a great series.
It was so good. I have really enjoyed it. It was Kerry Jordan. Kerry Jordan picked up 1 through 5, and then he was like, "You were right. That's really good. Put that on my list." So yeah, we did.
It's just a good read. I mean, it's solid all the way around.
Oh, one thing I do need to tell you, because it'll make you happy, but it'll also make Dustin Ellis happy. They are coming out with a sequel to Godzilla: Here There Be Dragons.
Yes. That was so much fun.
Yes, they are coming out with a sequel to that.
Are they keeping it pirate themed?
It's a sequel. It's a direct sequel.
Oh, so well, sometimes they want to do a sequel like so many years later, and we
Yeah,
might
as
go
far as
from.
the little bit that I've seen, it still looks to be pirates.
That was such a. The art was good. The story was good. It made sense. You understood why the pirates were involved with Godzilla. You understood. It even gave you a little bit more intrigue in the background with what does the queen know? What's going on? It was just a good book. It was a solid story.
I'm excited for it. I am excited for it.
But
But
yeah,
yes,
Hunger in the Dusk. I'm definitely looking forward to that one next week. I have not been reading it. I do have that Image series, Blood Commandment.
I'm in the same boat. I've got it, but I haven't read it yet.
I'm waiting until they have about 5 or 6 issues come out. Then I want to read all of it at one time.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those type books for me. Which I also do that with Detective Comics a lot. It's like I'll stop reading Detective Comics for like 10 issues, then I'll binge all 10 of them.
That's fair.
Which Detective Comics is one of the few books that you can get away with doing that on.
I'll tell you. I just set it down somewhere, but I brought home Sins of the Salton Sea trade so that I could show that. Um, and I picked it up and I started thumbing through it. Next thing I knew, I was just rereading it again. I was like, I forgot how good this first issue was. I forgot had the setup exactly how that played out. And now I'm looking for things, right? As I'm going through and reading it again, I'm looking for little clues and details. Um, it's such a good book.
Do you know if Tots read that?
I do not.
He would definitely like that
Oh,
book.
Tots would love that book.
And I think Tots would thoroughly enjoy the ending of it the way we did.
Oh, how could you not? It's great.
Yeah, it's if you want a comic book with a definitive end, go buy Sins of the Salton Sea up at Haven this weekend.
A definitive, satisfying conclusion.
Yes.
It was very satisfying.
I mean,
Strongly recommend.
It literally, the end of it poses a question without actually posing the question.
Yep.
He did exactly what he set out to do, but at what cost?
Yep.
I've never seen an ending like that in a comic book. And I think that's why it was so satisfying, was because it was different.
Oh, I liked it quite a lot. I
Yeah.
found it to be very satisfying. Yeah. And Kaylisa says the Sins of the Salton Sea covers were always very good. Yes.
They really were.
It's good to see you on here, Kaylisa. I didn't know you were lurking about.
About time you come back to us. Don't know where you been and who you been with, but
yeah, HR might have had some words with Nick earlier.
That's, really? Whatever you do, don't read previous comments, Kaylisa.
Yeah, she'll drop the band hammer on Nick again. Although before it was Jeremy Bernard that did that. But yeah, it's always good to see you on here, Kaylee. Good stuff. But yeah, I think it's time for us to sign off. Let people get back to it. Go read some comics and stuff. Uh, there's a lot of good comics out right now. Read them. It's all good. Any final words you want to throw at people before we sign off?
I would say if you're looking for, you know what, I've already said it. Run up to the shop, or if you're not local, go to your local shop and pick up Sins of the Salton Sea. The trade is out. It is a great read from beginning to end. And it will be one of those stories that satisfies you. The ending of it, it ended the only way that it could end.
Yep.
I mean, it was just perfect in every way. So that's my parting shot. Go buy Sins this weekend.
Yeah. Two other things before you go. One, hey Nosh, happy Saturday. Hope you're having a good morning. Two, he never ever watches the show, so he will never see this. But Chris Reese's birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday, Chris! I hope it was awesome, and we will catch you guys next time. Adios, amigos. Y'all are good people. I don't care what anybody else says.